When you're someone who protects and serves and helps others in their most vulnerable moments, in their greatest times of need, when you're someone who works as a paramedic, a firefighter, a police officer, whether you're in the military, whether you're a nurse, a doctor, emergency services of any kind, maybe even just someone who is in a different role, a coach or a therapist, a counselor, whatever it may be, you have this role that you step into. You inevitably become the strong one. You become the person that everybody relies on. You step into this role because you have to. It's part of you being able to do your job, to be able to perform a service for people. You need to be the one that everyone can rely on, the steadfast one, the one that doesn't crumble under pressure, the one that always knows what to do. And that's a blessing because it means you have a skill set that many people don't possess. It allows you to do your job, it allows you to help people. But it becomes its very own curse because it prevents you from the opposing aspects of that. Everything in the world is balanced, For you to be strong, you also have to have the capacity to be weak. You have to know weakness. For you to be reliable, you also have to be incredibly unreliable. Everything in the world exists in balance because if there wasn't balance, then there would be chaos. But that in itself is a huge problem because as you become the strong one, as you fulfill that role more and more, you start to create expectations of the people around you. It starts to become part of your identity. And when something becomes part of your identity, people see that as being you. They don't see the other aspects. And if something happens to come out, if you show weakness or you are vulnerable for a moment, people's expectations start to falter. Their worldview starts to shift. And in some instances, that can be hugely shattering. It can be so dangerous for relationships. If people see you a certain way, they perceive you to be one thing, and then you demonstrate something else, that shifts things for them massively. And in terms of long-term relationships, it can be hugely damaging. So you can try and avoid it, which is what most people do. They keep on this strong one persona. They stay in that box. And in many instances, they do things that drive themselves further into the box. So you get further and further and further into this box that you have created, this identity that you have built in order to do your job properly, in order to be who you want to be. But in doing that, you forego all the other aspects, all the other things that create a well-balanced human. And you start to craft an identity that keeps you stuck. It may serve you in one realm, it may help you in one way, but it's actually preventing your own growth. It's creating this constriction, this inability to expand. And then you find yourself feeling lost within your own identity. You want to be vulnerable, you want to reach out for help, you want to express other things. You can't do that because it doesn't mesh, it doesn't align with this identity that you have projected forward into the world. And it becomes a case of, well, I'm the helper, but who's going to help me? And that can be really difficult. It's a curse. On one hand, you do all these incredible things. You are this incredible person that helps other people, but you're also stuck, lost in this box of your own making. And of course, contributed by the expectations of everybody around you. And that can be such a difficult thing. But as you start to learn, you grow into a different person, you start to expand on this, it becomes clear that you can step outside that box, you can expand your identity, you can still be the strong one, but without all the elements that make it damaging, without the things that make it a curse. It's not easy, it takes time, it takes effort, it takes training, but it's entirely possible to be that thing, but also be everything else at the same time.